And this is, I guess, a pretty big question, but let me try and hone in specifically. We are involved in some level over in Syria, and there's this different idea on Americans being involved over in the Middle East, and then, since 9/11, like you mentioned, we've had some kind of role. A lot of Americans are talking about coming home and totally pulling out, and so you have different stances there. What is your opinion on that situation? And specifically to Syria, we have, if I say his name right, Bashar al-Assad.
Bashar Assad.
There's actually, from what I see, a divide in our country based on him, that some people think that he's a dictator, some people think that he should be left in power and is more of a good guy. I got in trouble for talking about him the other day on this show. So what is your opinion of Syria, of him, and of us being foreign policy over there?
Well, he's not only a dictator, he is a murderer. He killed more than 350,000 Syrians, his own people. More than 8 million Syrians left their homes. 3 million reached to Turkey, 1 million reached to Germany, and they spread all over. And look what he ended with Syria with this last 9 years of civil war. So in my point of view, he is definitely a dictator. And we have to understand that either Iran and Russia haven't got the money to recover and rehabilitate Syria. The money will come from the rich countries like Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, and so on. And they might demand to either remove Assad from his position, give to the opposition much more decent place and representative in the parliament. And the Turks actually, Erdogan named Bashar Assad as a terrorist. And so he is definitely not a good guy.
I saw the what's the World Trade? Not the World Trade, but the World Union.
UN?
Yeah, the UN, United Nations. Sorry.
Yeah.
I saw that they were trying him for war crimes on certain different things, and I say that because there's some people that will relate the things that you said to the local terrorists, ISIS, and then some of they'll blame our foreign policy on some of the factions that are over there between Assad and his regime, and then the local refugees and those types of things. What do you see?
Yeah, the American involvement over there was in two main goals. One of them was sitting in the north next to the Syrian-Turkey border to prevent the Turks from slaughtering the Kurds and help to actually finish the story of ISIS. And this goal was achieved, actually.
Okay.
After that, there was some criticism about the American troops leaving over there that area, that leave the Kurds to the Turks. But, you can't win them all. At the same time, the other point that the American troops are there, and which is a very strategic, important point, is the area of El Tanaf, which is the border between Iraq and Syria. And only those troops, about 2,000 American troops, these are the only ones that stand between the ability of the Iranian to have this land corridor, which I mentioned before, or not. So this is a very important presence of the United States troop over there. And as I mentioned, if there is some kind of conflict in the world and you have allies over there, you have to be there. I understand the desire to be focused in the inner domestic issues, but there's no vacuum. And if somebody have the idea that if you won't be there, things won't happen, they happen.
Right.
But this time when you won't be there, you get those bad guys over here, like 9/11. Right. The fact that you ignore them doesn't say that they are not exist. They exist, they are active, and they use democracy to undermine democracy. So no any illusion of someone that say that, okay, well, if we don't have any American troops over there, it doesn't our concern, we don't deal with it, that's it. They'll come there. They're coming to Europe now, and they'll be there if you don't deal with them over there.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
Well, I think there's a lot of truth to that. basically when you're talking about Islam, and especially radical Islam, it's a philosophy that wants to take over the world.
Right.
You know, and
Their
they're
words.
Yeah, their words. They're serious about it, and so you see them entering into different cultures. And like Abhi was saying, they use democracy to undermine democracy, and so you can see that in places in Europe, Germany, and France, and even now the United Kingdom. You see that going on, and even somewhat in our country. You know, we've got some people in Congress right now that are anti-Semitic and just blatantly
Right.
anti-Semitic and anti-American and that kind of thing, and you know, use democracy to undermine it, and so yeah, I agree with all that. Yeah.